extra stun. Damn, they went from having no stuns to having, what, 3 stuns early on.
They're
That's a
overcompensating.
huge improvement. Yeah, it's an improvement. You can never
sure.
get enough stuns. It's all right. It's good.
And now the Earthshaker, and are we gonna see it? I mean, move the gyro to mid, throw the Earthshaker in the off lane, and Morphling safe lane. I feel like that's got to be the ban if you're unknown.
Yeah, you have to be worried about that. That's definitely an option for fighting pandas. Sand King and Leshrac, they could pressure him quite hard on that safe lane, but then again, it doesn't matter. When you're playing versus Morphling and Shaker, no matter how hard you pressure the Morphling, once Shaker gets his levels and you have Aghanims on Morph, it's just done. Game is done. You can't. It's so difficult to play against. Yeah, they banned it out. Good,
you have to.
Good thing. Good thing. Chaos Knight yesterday was drafted a couple of times with, I believe, 0% win rate. Not a lot of success. But Chaos Knight overall, I believe, is a decent carry. I think what he brings to the table at the moment versus heroes such as Gyrocopter is very valuable, as you can build pretty much 3 items, 2 Bracers Armlet or Armlet Power Treads, and you're already able to solo a Gyro with a good Reality Rift. I don't think Gyro is much more powerful than a CK is as a carry, but Gyrocopter allows your team to have a little bit of an easier strategy built around your carry, right? Like with the Gyro, you can make some stacks, you can let him out-farm the enemy team because that's what he does the best, right? And then fight around him once he has phases drums, or you can just let him farm forever and go that super late game. It's a bit more flexible, let's say, when you're playing Gyro. The strategy is a bit more flexible.
Did you see the build that JT went on the Earthshaker yesterday? They were playing their first game against Beast Coast, down about 18,000 net worth. He goes Blink, Shadowblade, Refresher Orb, and just lays down the sickest double echo on 3 heroes to win the game. They outright just went tier 3 tower and throned him. It was disgusting. So I always get excited when I get to see Earthshakers in the game, more so in the off lane than the 4.
I mean, the big stick Lanham. That's where it all started, right? Like, Shaker overall is just an amazing hero to watch. It's just one of those, like Shakers, Enigmas. Everyone loves to watch these guys because they bring this massive pog potential. Oh, Drow Ranger, or so Gyro will be mid, or Drow even. That's also possible, but probably Gyro. He's more of a midder right now, more popular there. And man, Envy loves this Drow, but I just pray to Dota Lords, Dota Gods right now that he, Gabe, and please don't let Envy build a pipe or something similar, because I remember a few years back, Drow Ranger played by Envy, 2 raid bans into pipe. Slark played by Envy, raid ban Power Treads pipe. And then you're just not doing anything in 30 minutes of the game. Like 50-50, that's pretty much always the way to go with him. But I believe Drow Ranger right now is pretty straightforward. She's picked a lot. The strategies built around her are super easy to execute. All right. Alchemist, though, however, is really good, though.
So I'm interested to see who goes to the 4. Mid-alc safe lane CK, so it will be Widge on the Leshrac. Because I've seen 4 CK. I just wanted to make sure, it wasn't just some sort of switcheroo on us, and all of a sudden they go Leshrac safe lane CK4. Or even Fade was playing it on Aster a while ago, the 5 position CK. Obviously, that wouldn't happen.
There's a lot of teams even before like that would draft CK early on and then just put him on position 4 when the game isn't really the best for CK and his illusions. But I think this game is more about the Alchemist. Obviously, every game that has an Alchemist in it is all about the Alchemist. Chaos Knight is pretty much there to create enough space for Atun to get his Radiance, to get his items and start roaming around the map with that Blink Radiance, perhaps, which they will need. They need to get on top of Envy as soon as possible. Now, I believe he could have a decent lane versus Gyro. It depends how he plays it though. Acid Spray versus Gyro can work, but then again, on the other hand, you have Rocket Barrage, you have that missile. It's definitely not the easiest lane, but you can get a lot of farm there as an alchemist.
Could we see, even though he's on the Drow, a potential swap in lanes where they throw Brile in the safe lane and he go mid, or is that just not the proper matchup?
I don't. I think Gyro might do a bit better. Than I think you can pressure him more with Gyro. For Envy, if you need to get a few raid bans first, and then you can definitely do well versus Alchemist. But by the time you get those raid bans, he might just right straight out win the first couple of waves, and that's not. What we'll see. Yeah, Drow Ranger safe. Gyro mid.
Prepare for battle.
So, into this game 2 will go. Brile will go up top for a moment, but just past the stairs, he'll shift over. So, what's the favorable lane matchup for both sides? Like, what is the lane they're really each team is looking to dominate here?
I honestly think there's a huge opportunity for Team Unknown to win this top lane as long as it's not a tri-lane on the side of Fighting Pandas. Versus Ogre and Drow, I guess they can dive her if they play their cards right, but it's easier said than done. You have to play really well around the equilibrium of the creeps, about the way you creep skip, about the way you push in. With Lash and Sand King, you can definitely pressure her very well, but you have to play your cards right, like I said earlier. Or sometimes what happens is Drow Ranger just gets pressured, but she sits under the tower and just farms away. You aren't really pressuring her. You're pushing the lane, but you aren't able to kill her or zone her out. And one big thing that Fighting Pandas have got going for them is obviously this Drow Ranger zone, which Lina is going to benefit from, and the Gyrocopter.
So we'll see if it sticks to a tri-lane top. It doesn't look like it's going to go that way. Snake King already starting to shift. See if it commits all the way down bottom.
Yeah, they will not have the tri-lane this time around. But it looks like Fighting Pandas are starting as a try. Perhaps they'll try to get the first blood and then rotate with the Lash towards the top lane.
For right now, he's gone into the Split Earth. I'll have the CK nearby. We'll see. It's usually the Chaos Strike level 1.
Usually is, but considering they have a stun on Vish,
I think they're going to see if they can land it.
I guess the plan is get a couple of decay stacks and then try to go for the kill.
So we'll see if they can land it on Moomiander. He goes right to the stun. It's a 2-second stun, which will mean he's locked in for the Split Earth and an easy first blood. Wiz will take credit for that, and that's what they were looking for. Exactly what we kind of spotted out with those heroes coming in towards bottom. And that's immediately, like you said, Leshrac over top, Lizardry on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the obvious thing to do as a position 4. It's the obvious rotation. Unfortunately for him, Greedy went for the stun instead of the Sandstorm. I think if he had the Sandstorm, maybe he'd have an easier time here getting that level 2 on his own. But there is a sentry on AUI, so they are pushing in. So top lane is going to be fine for Unknown, and already I have a feeling this laning stage is developing to be much better than in that last game for Team Unknown.
That's definitely a lot harder for it to go as poorly as it did in the previous game. I mean, you had a Kunkka and a Death Prophet at level 2 so late into the laning phase, and I mean, that was just being behind that much that early. It was this uphill battle the whole game.
Yeah, the big issue that they, I think, might have is this mid lane. Gyrocopter just got a really good rune. He was very low with mana and HP, but he found the region, and now he's just going to dominate. Don't you just love it when you get the perfect rune? You go towards that rune spawn and you find yourself a double damage early on. Bottom lane Shaker.
It's one of the better feelings in the world. Moomiander able to run away here from Prada. He's got one more mango left, and you know, does it come down to using the decay, using the mango, and then sacrificing yourself like we normally see, or sometimes we just see Undyings just go all out when they're out of mangoes and try to get a kill?
I guess he still has the salve to work with, so perhaps pull and then suicide after, or use the salve. I guess using that salve is pretty bad. Like, I'd rather suicide. Like, just use that last mango, use everything that you've got, and then go on the tier 2. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Mid lane, Bryle might dive him.
Yeah, he's got Rocket Barrage out onto the Alchemist, and Bryle, a solo kill onto the Gyro. I mean, that is very important this early on against the Alchemist. Meanwhile, they've got the Burrow Strike, good Fire Blast to keep Envy safe from harm, with the Split Earth about to follow it up from Widge.
I think this is very simple for Gyro to do on the middle lane. And Atun, he just has to be very careful about how he plays this lane from now on. He cannot feed Bryle too hard, because if he does, Bryle will just roll over the map and win the game for them. So if you're Alchemist, you cannot give him any more kills like that. Solo kills are not really great. And one of the reasons why Bryle got it was that region rune, because he already used everything that he had before, got Alchemist really low, and then a region rune spawns, he picks it up, goes back to full HP, full mana, and he's able to continue pressuring him and kill him off in the end.
CK taking a lot of damage, as is Moomiander. Snake King's got 2 mangoes to play with, as well as 10 charges on the stick and a salve, so he is very happy with the regen he's got available. And we were talking about Prada, now only 7 sticks. Stick charges, sorry, not 7 sticks. Bryle invading the jungle.
Yeah.
Undying in trouble. One more shot comes in from Snake King. They'll get the kill. Moomiander gets hit up pretty hard from the CK and sitting really low on health here inside the lane.
Yeah, it's what he wanted. He wanted to go to the base, you know, as an Undying, so that he can regen up. He didn't suicide really, but close enough. Not really, no. That's never the plan, but yeah. Alchemist has been zoned out completely by the Gyro, by the way. Bryle followed him while that Undying was dying on the bottom lane. Bryle was just following him inside the Radiant jungle, just pushing him away from the creeps, farming his creeps, and forcing him to go and farm around the shrine.
Look at the level difference already between the Gyro as well as the Alchemist. I mean, he's about to hit 7. Meanwhile, the Alchemist just hit 5. Bryle dominates the lane, and you know, you really would like a much better start if you're an Alchemist. Obviously, Alchemist has the tools to come back, but it's a rough start for sure.
Like, the problem for Unknown is the fact that because Gyro dominated and crushed pretty much this Alchemist so hard on the middle lane, now the Leshrac is forced to move mid, and it all falls like it all falls apart, their whole strategy, because Sand King is now solo laning top lane instead of pressuring this Drow Ranger. He's doing what he can, right? He's creep skipping, farming, but Envy is also free farming. So instead of losing just one lane, now you're losing mid lane and top lane, because that Leshrac is forced to rotate. The upside of this is that Lesh will get some more experience.
Another regen rune for Bryle. I mean, like you said, it's one of the better feelings, I would say, of your life when you get to find the proper rune. And another regen rune is certainly going to help him expand this lead and continue to just dominate his lane.
I really love how fighting pandas are playing around this map at the moment, putting these deep observer wards in the Radiant jungle. Obviously, they're not scouting out Alchemist, but they know where he is, just because he's not farming there. Alright, Moon falls.
He dies over bottom, but they were looking for a ton. For a moment, I mean, Bryle continuing to just run right at him, and as the Rocket Barrage just sprayed him. Moomiander, he ends up dead. He's very far behind, it seems like, in experience.
Yeah, only level 4. I mean, only level 4. Chaos Knight is about to hit 6, so not super bad for him, considering they were constantly dual laning.
Burrow Strike hits on the Lina. Now the Split Earth as well as AUI coming over, so they've got the LSA as well as the Fire Blast. They'll get the kill onto Greedy, who, well, gets a little bit too much of his namesake. Greedy and tries to go in there, find a kill.
Radiant's middle tower
Magic
is under
Wand on
attack.
snaking, obviously, with that raindrop helps him out tremendously, and he survives. And meanwhile, Brawl is just continuing to pressure this Alchemist. Aton, he can't even farm in his own jungle, it seems.
Undying getting pressured a lot as well. They are thinking about maybe getting this kill, but they've also got Wish coming by. Invisrune for Moomiander, and finally treads out for the Alchemist. Switch it over to the net worth and see that Gyro is ahead of the Alch, which is something, if you're the Alch player, you don't want to see for sure.
I mean, this early on, he has been pressured quite a lot, so he wasn't able to farm in the lane or in the jungle properly. But we should see Alchemist take over very soon, as he's able to use that ulti, one bracer power chest, that's all you need to start farming.
Good sidestep there from AUI. He's going to hit away at Wish, but they've got the Burrow Strike. They'll finally take out the Ogre.
I like what they're doing with Sand King and Lash, even the Undying. They're pretty much setting the perimeter around the Alchemist, and all these small engagements, they're basically to prevent fighting PandaS to approach a ton, right? As long as he's farming, that's your win condition, just getting Radiance on this Alchemist as soon as possible. So right now, they're doing it well, but he might be in problems mid lane.
Gust, Laguna, damage coming through on a Greedy. Burrow Strike away. With 70 health, can EE close the gap? Snake King will finally get the kill, just on the edge of that Dragon Slave.
I have a feeling Snake King as position for fighting PandaS has worked out so well. Like every time they have a good game, it's pretty much Snake King in the laning stage that's dominating super hard.
And we saw that the last game with the Mirana, how much he was able to do early on to shut down the Kunkka and the Death Prophet. And this time, maybe not as much in shutting down, but certainly, you know, really helping out the Drow Ranger and securing some kills here in the lane and around the map. Take a look over Undying on the run from both AUI as well as Bryle. They'll moonwalk it out of there. And they finally have 6 on Moomiander. Comparing that to the Sand King, who was 6 when he was 4. So definitely some comeback there from Moomiander in terms of experience. And now again, they might find Prada, an easy run down there for Bryle, giving him his 2nd kill of the game.
Yep. Because they have these deep wards, they can scout out anyone that tries to go out. And this time it was the unfortunate Undying. Fighting PandaS, they did plan down these wards definitely to scout out Alchemist, but Atan, he's farming on the other side. He's farming in the safest zone, which is good for him. He's not dying, but at the same time, he's not really getting a lot of farm. And that's why 11 minutes in, Gyrocopter is actually ahead. And right now, it's very problematic. A few minutes ago, it wasn't really that much of a problem, because if a Gyro has a good lane, he's expected to kind of dominate, especially if he gets a solo kill on Alchemist. But right now, it's getting into the scary zone in which Alchemist should be at least 500 to 1k ahead.
Right now, he's finally sitting 300 ahead. He's going into that Radiance. Fighting PandaS, if Fighting PandaS can find a kill or two on him, which has been very difficult with, like you said, them throwing the perimeter out, it would be nice to slow down that Radiance. But they look over at Greedy. He goes onto the high ground. They don't have a stun to stop this, but meanwhile, Prada goes down to Bryle, and another kill here for the Gyrocopter, pushing him closer and closer to that BKB. And Wish, he comes in, and Envy's dead solo to the Leshrac. Was not expecting that. Now the Echo Slam comes in as well as the call down. They've got the Fissure, Rocket Barrage following it up onto the CK. It's not enough damage, and now he's able to get the Phantasm out. Moomiander ends up dead before they're able to take out the CK. Bryle, though, gets the kill. He's now dominating at 4-0-0. Bit of a trade going on that sort of benefits Fighting PandaS.
That's pretty much the best he could have gotten, but also understand that this CK, he didn't die there because he was caught off guard. He knew what was going to happen, but he had to move towards the bottom lane because Alchemist is pretty much farming in the only safe spot in this map. A few minutes ago, they were farming around that shrine together, and that's not optimal.
He's going to be in trouble. Burrow Strike as well as the Split Earth. They've got the Diabolic Edict on a solo target. They'll stop his spree. Greedy will get credit for that. They'll chase after the Ogre Magi. Now Moomiander comes over. He's got a Fissure to throw, but no Echo Slam. And Fighting PandaS struggling a little bit just to escape from this. Split Earth with the Burrow Strike has been such a deadly combination. They're going to look for more. Moonmeander now inside the trees. They've got the Luna coming back in. They'd love to have another Fissure to throw, but it's on cooldown for another second, and they won't be able to stop him while the Luna TPs towards bottom.
Yeah, meanwhile, Alchemist, who was forgotten, is moving towards his relic at least, has 3.9k gold, so can purchase it right now. Will do so with the courier. So as long as they're keeping the pressure off of Alchemist, I think they're doing the right thing, even though the trades might not be super great for them. They lost their CK a couple of times. You can see by the item build of CK that he expected that. He has Power Chest 2 Bracers. It's one of more safer builds to go.
This unknown draft, I mean, this is the difference a few stuns can make. The early game going so much better for them. They have the Burrow Strike and the Split Earth to combo, and you said it's, you know, the trio of Greedy, Wiz, and Prada that have been doing so much work so far. And Greedy, yeah, Bryle running back. He's not going to be hit by the Burrow Strike. They'll go across. They've got the homing missile to move with this. They missed the LSA, so Wiz is going to be a little bit further out than maybe they're comfortable with. The Diabolic Edict gets popped. CK throws a 3-second stun onto the Ogre. Now the silence on a 2 with the Tombstone down. They need to be careful about how they move in on this, if at all. Double Sentry placed in. Both of them cleared out immediately. They look for the Laguna Blade and the kill on a Greedy. They will find at least that. They also take out the Tombstone, and that's gold going the way of Bryle.
Yeah, usually when you're playing around that Tombstone, you want it on the high ground, not ground. Especially when you're playing versus Drowlina, because they have long range. They will be able to take it down. And there's so much AoE spells as well from fighting PandaS. You saw that Sand King, he tried to hide in the Sandstorm. There's Call Down, there's LSA, there's obviously Laguna Blade, and he just falls easily to the side of fighting PandaS. Then again, Alchemist, meanwhile, farming, has Radiance completed, flying over to him on that courier, and that's pretty big. Next item should be the BKB or the Blink Dagger, we'll see. Pretty much either one of these two is good. BKB maybe allows you to be a bit safer in team fights. Obviously, Blink Dagger brings some more aggression if you buy it early on.
It's going to be the Ags next from the Earthshaker, and it will Ags first from the Earthshaker. He's 1,300 gold away from it. You've got the Ithrlens and then the Yules for the LSA. That'll help to get some setups there. Yules into the LSA is always nice. And then, of course, we were talking about Bryle going into that BKB. And after getting that kill and getting the Tombstone, that pushed him even closer to it. And about 900 gold away from it. You know, they're really progressing pretty well here for fighting PandaS. It's just become a question of whether or not they're going to be able to get to the Alchemist. I think he's just not been forgotten about, but he's definitely been protected really well.
I don't think that Alchemist is unkillable in this game. I think like the later the game goes, Drow Ranger and Gyro can definitely fight against him and have the upper hand, but overall it's on Team Unknown to start pressuring these towers after he has a BKB, and they have this huge power spike that will happen very soon once he has that Blink BKB, and that's where all hell is gonna break loose if Team Unknown plays their hand right. We'll see.
So it looks like they're attempting to trade tier 2s. AY goes through the trees, seeing if anybody's TPing in. They'll get the tier 2. Now do they rotate to save their own? They won't have time to. And it's just a trade in the long lanes for tier 2 towers. Still a close game, though. You usually see, like, these out games, you expect, like, a 4,000 net worth lead or something, you know, crazy padded by the Alchemist farming. Obviously, CK, you know, he's still trying to find some farm here and scrounge around for whatever he can get. It kind of falls off at the SK a little bit.
I think it's these two things, right? First, CK doesn't farm really fast as a hero. Naturally, he doesn't have any flash farming ability. And Alchemist was shot down in the laning stage, and because of that, fighting PandaS are only 1k behind. Mid lane.
Yeah, they've got the kill on the Snake King. It's the stun combinations that they bring to the table that allow them to get these easy kills.
The S-King falls. And yeah, they can invade the forest a bit better. I love how Alchemist was pretty much in this triangle, and he was lost here for the last 10 minutes. Like, he didn't come out. He will have that BKB completed now too. And this is pretty much the time for Unknown to do something.
We've got the Ags finished for Earthshaker. They hit a bit of a power spike with the BKB on Gyro as well as the Ags on Earthshaker. They're looking for a BKB on EE. He's got 3 Wraith Bands, 1 Dragon Lance, and ooh, yeah, the Fissure hits onto the Leshrac. Now the Totem to follow it up from the low ground EE, trying to get the kill on a Widge. Bloodlust applied, and that'll be an easy kill for the Drow. And does the game get a little bit more complicated with the dunking powers of the Earthshaker?
Radiant's bottom
I was
tower
actually
is
expecting
under attack.
Unknown to pounce first, but no, it's Moon Meander that dunks on top of that Leshrac. And now they smoke up, Lash is dead for 20, but they were spotted. They actually did that right under a ward.
Usually really good about that, placing the sentry, looking for vision and smoking, but maybe got a little ahead of themselves, thinking, let's just go.
Yeah, because they killed Leshrac, they tried to, save as much time as possible, go instantly. You can see that Team Unknown, they smoked up themselves too. Maybe they will put Lash on mid lane. No, Blink on the Sand King.
He gets hit up with the stun, but he's not going to be dead just yet. The Reality Rift, no, the Fissure hits onto 2, and now they've got the stun as well as the Gust on into the CK back over by where they've got the call down. Alchemist hit with the Luna Blade. They're locking him down, and now the Echo Slam. They get the kill into a ton. Eternal Envy, though, gets stunned up for 2 more seconds. They might be able to trade cores here, and they will. But CK, he's going to be caught out. They've got the Totem as well as the Fissure. They've locked him down. They'll kill him off. That's going to be 2 here for the side of Fighting Pandas, and even more as they'll get Panda, or Prada, excuse me, with the Totem once again, and find themselves a 3-for-1 treat.
Panda's got the Prada, and Sand King, will he be able to get out? Yeah, there's no Fissure. He's out there. Overall, though, a pretty good fight for Pandas. I just love the way Moon Meander played it. He uses that stun, and I believe he caught like 2 or 3 heroes with it. And he could follow up after the Fissure. He could follow up with Enchant Totem into Echo Slam there, but he doesn't. Instead, he just goes back and saves it until he sees Alchemist, and then they just blow him up. One big thing is, when you buy items, it's usually the best idea to use them. So if you bought a BKB, but you aren't clicking it, it's fancy, it looks nice in your inventory, but it isn't doing much. And because of that, he just got stun locked and he died. One of the main reasons they lost that fight is because their biggest core just died first.
Onto the Gyro, but they've got the Fissure as well as the Totem on a Widge. They're trying to chase down Bryle. The Homing Missile will come out next. A lot of damage being done to the Leshrac. The stun will hit on the Sand King with the Totem. He's just able to jump away and really keep himself from any harm. And that was Epicenter committed to that.
Wish goes back, gets 2 bounty runes, which is pretty good too for the Alchemist.
Double damage bottom. Do they have a smoke to...
They have a bottle, so they can bottle it up and save it for a bit later, perhaps even go for Rush or
Radiant's bottom
something.
tower
Most
is
likely they
under
will try
attack.
to take a team fight with it later on.
Now he's got his BKB going into the Hurricane Pike next. He's just kind of been tucked away as well. Like, he was involved in that last fight and he did end up dying, but it feels like for the most part he's just been kind of sitting back and farming where he can.
Yeah, it's an issue for him. Even though he has some mobility, like, I mean, not the Pike yet, but he has the BKB and the Gush, so he can escape. Yeah, he couldn't escape there. Even though he is like standing on the outskirts of team fights, there is a Blink Dagger on Sand King and the Blink Dagger, more importantly, on a Chaos Knight. So this CK with 2 bracers. Oh, fight.
They've got the Fissure coming out now. Unstable Concoction hits onto the Ogre. He's still within the Sandstorm. Yule's call down, Split Earth hits, and they're just trying to get this Ogre. The 3-second stun comes down to the Gyro, and now the Totem follows it up. They've got the Echo Slam as well as the Laguna Blade coming out of the CK. Is it going to be enough with the BKB being popped by the Gyro? Now get the kill onto the CK. They'll look over at the Leshrac, who's now hit with the Homing Missile, but won't follow it up for anything more. They've spent the Laguna, they've spent the Echo, and maybe want to back off a little bit using their 2 big spells.
They spent the Laguna, the Echo, and they didn't see the Sand King. And whenever you do that versus the Sand King and he's lurking somewhere on the high ground, if you aren't countered by Barrow Strike, you're countered by Epicenter and Barrow Strike. So it's good they didn't go. They got a major kill on that Chaos Knight. It's good. You can chill afterwards. The BKB is spent obviously on Gyro. At best they will take Leshrac, but they would lose Gyrocopters. So it's good they didn't go any longer, any further.
Yeah, no need to press too heavily on your advantage, even though it's, of course, with the Alchemist padding just a 1k lead. But they definitely feel strong right now. I think, minus the Alchemist, I mean, Fighting Pandas, if they could find anybody else on the team out, really feel confident in getting a kill.
Yeah. This big BKB on Envy is actually super important too, because Chaos Knight won't be able to just jump on top of him, stun him, and take him down solo. You also saw in that last fight how much that BKB was worth for Gyrocopter, as he was able to turn onto the CK. But it's about how you take these team fights. If you are Team Unknown, you need to think about setting up a perimeter around Lashrak, Tombstone, Sand King. You can't just use that blink and go so far away from your teammates, because they won't be able to follow up.
Looks like they're setting up for a potential smoke. They get one delivered onto the Ogre. This time they've got the Sentry Ward down, so they won't be spotted.
My thanks.
Just becomes a question of when and if they want to make a move.
Are they waiting for any big items? That's the question now. There's a butterfly that's about to be completed, I guess, on the Gyro. There's also the BKB on the Lina. But,
Also,
there's
they have
nothing stopping them.
And they also have deep vision over by the, past the tier 2 and mid, but they don't exactly know where Unknown stands. So maybe looking to get a little bit more information and that butterfly before they go.
They pretty much understand that Unknown is either around their shrine or in the Dire jungle. That's what they're expecting at least. And now I believe this smoke is to go to their jungle, but Drow might break the Radiant smoke instead.
Epicenter started. They've got the 2-second stun as well as the Barrel Strike. This is going to be a lot of damage on the EE. No way he gets out of that. They also had the Unstable Concoction ready for him. And,
this is pretty much an outplay, a big outplay strategically by Unknown, because they understand. These teams, like, even though you don't have vision, you have to understand when you're playing in Fog, it's all about guessing where the enemy is, right? And Fighting Pandas, they just get strong. They smoked up and tried to go from the Radiant to the Dire jungle, which is usually the normal play. But Team Unknown, they did a little bit of a weirder smoke. They smoked around their shrine and went into their jungle, and they caught off Envy. And usually there is one core that stays in the enemy jungle to farm or to outpush that lane, right? So a pretty decent play by Unknown, and they get a pretty good kill on the Drow Ranger.
Meanwhile, a ton with the help of Wiz will get that bottom tier 1, and Alchemist, helping to get that tower, securing it. And meanwhile, Brile, he will finish off the butterfly. They've got the Blink Dagger now available on the Alchemist. Take a look as Lashrak's been caught. The Gust is there. He heals himself up trying to survive, but as he comes down, so does Moomiander with the Earthshaker. Get that finishing blow in for Eternal Envy.
Yeah, pretty good. 4 heroes rotate though to defend and outpush and kill that Lash. They do get the kill, but at least that's a little upside for Unknown. Now they know where Pandas are, and Alchemist and CK can just continue farming. There's the Blink Dagger completed on the Alchemist too. AC, Blink Dagger. They should be able to teamfight quite easily versus Fighting Pandas, as long as they play around their strengths. Set up perimeter, play around the Tombstone, play around the Sandstorm.
It's interesting blind move there from Moomiander. Definitely looking to find that Alchemist. Of course, you were saying that they know that they're playing around this shrine, trying to farm it up for the Alchemist as much as possible. If he had spotted the Alch, he was a little far from his team to have some immediate help, but it would have been interesting to see if they had clashed right there. Totem again forward. Fissure hits on a 1. They've got the call down, but the Barrel Strike hits onto Moomiander. BKB's already been popped by Brile. The homie Minnesota followed up on a Greedy. BKB's about to run out onto this Gyrocopter, and Snake King, he's popped his BKB, but he's low as well, so a little bit thrown from both sides. BKB's popped on Fighting Pandas. I mean, that's kind of a win here for Unknown.
Yeah, that's definitely a win. Can they capitalize on that, though? Can they smoke up and get anything out of it? Perhaps move towards the top lane, get this Earthshaker or the Gyro. That could be huge. Brile is right here without his BKB, but Lash does not spot him. Instead, they go into the pit, which is also definitely an option for them. They don't have some spells, though. They don't have the Tombstone to work with, and they are playing versus Echoes, so this can backfire, but they do have the BKB.
Be careful. Fissure comes out onto the Sand King. They're not within the pit just yet. They'll LSA. They'll spot them in there. Moomiander, though, going to the bottom of this fight, looking over at Prada, so he's not entering the Roche pit just yet to throw, say, an Echo Slam. Totem's onto the high ground. Echo Slam down onto two. The Burrow Strike's going to hit by the Gyrocopter as well as the Epicenter, but the Fissure comes in and will help them get the kill onto Greedy. Meanwhile, the BKB is going to be popped by the CK. They've bought back on the Undying. The right clicks are so heavy. Envy and Bryle combine to get the kill onto the CK. They'll TP out Wiz just in time. He was just trying to get out of there, and even with the BKB, it's just not enough to save him. Ooh.
That's a Death Zone Drow Ranger. Not something you see very often, but definitely did help them take down that CK so fast. He didn't expect that. No way. But yeah, that's later on. The Drow Ranger and CK just falls. Oh, alright. They do get the Aegis though. It's still on the Alchemist. But definitely fighting PandaS, they take that fight. Prada was actually forced to buy back. Sand King used the Epicenter with pretty much no use there too.
TP up from Greedy. Burrow Strike hits onto UI. Very tanky, and they'll have the Yule Split Earth if they can catch up to this Ogre. Goes through the trees. Maybe they catch him the short way, but a good job there of going back into the trees and TPing out. Great movement.
Nice Quelling Blade. It's so good to have a Quelling Blade or have the possibility to carry that Quelling Blade as position 5, as it helps you not only with jugs but also with the wards, right? Even if you're ranged, it doesn't matter. The warding with Quelling Blade is so much easier.
A lot of time being afforded here for fighting PandaS. Do you think Unknown are just not being aggressive enough with what they had on the Alchemist, or can they not be as aggressive as they'd like to be with the great farming coming out from Bryle, as well as EE managing to, now pick up this Desolator? Had a pretty quick BKB as well.
I mean, considering what their lineup is made out of, like so many stuns, so many heroes that have good synergy together and can create kills, they are definitely a little bit more on the defensive side, and they could have been more aggressive. Once that Blink Dagger was there for Alchemist, they could have made more plays, but they decided to play it safer, to play the farming game, to wait for the BKB on CK. And yeah, they have the Aegis. It's not like they're out of it, they're 3k behind. Considering they have an Alchemist, that's not great, but they're still in a good position in which they can take this game.
TPing back the Alchemist. He'll charge up his stun. He does have the Blink Dagger. They're going to try and get Bryle. They'll throw the stun out. Now the Fire Blast hits onto the Alchemist, but they'll have the Split Earth to follow it up to keep Bryle nearby. He'll be able to pop that BKB and get on the run. Ignite, trying to hold him back, and he'll escape, but it will come at the cost of this Ogre, or will it? Moomiander's potentially setting up here for an Echo Slam, but with AOI dying and nobody else behind him, you don't want to just throw the Echo for the sake of throwing the Echo. He didn't have Snake King there, and he didn't have EE there.
Yeah, also very interesting that Bryle didn't pop that BKB before he got stunned, right? Because you saw it, Alchemist, he blinked on top, but he didn't really throw the stun instantly. So Bryle did have like a half of a second to pop the BKB and just TP away instantly, but yeah, he didn't do that. Almost ends up dying, but AOI, he sacrifices himself instead. The Gyrocopter survives.
The thing that maybe worries Bryle a little bit is the fact that he is down to a 6-second BKB. They have found the Earthshaker. They'll have the Split Earth with the Chaos Bolt. Moomiander totems away and throws a Fissure. Has 1 second until he's able to totem again, just trying to get a far enough spread between him and the CK Reality Rift, but here comes Greedy. And 4 heroes here finally chase him down. He'll buy onto the BKB, now dead for 70 seconds.
Yeah, both of these teams playing in a little bit of a, I don't know, interesting way, let's say. Fighting PandaS, usually a team such as this one, in a situation such as this one, that is, would perhaps set up perimeter around the Dire jungle and play together there. Instead, what they did is they only set up the Ogre and the Gyro there. Now they lost the Earthshaker in their own jungle. Good smoke coming from Team Unknown. Can they capitalize?
Burrow Strike on AUI. They've got the stun, so they've locked him down long enough. But the call down comes out. They're going to try and fight this. They're trying to turn. They've got the Tombstone on the low ground. Prada, though, just kind of allows CK to die. They'll take out the Tombstone immediately. That's not exactly worth it. It will put Bryle's BKB down to 5 seconds. And they will get the kill onto the CK, but again, still leaving the Alchemist unattended. He's going into the Abyssal Blade.
Yeah. I guess if you're Unknown and you're smoking up, you definitely don't want to do it on the Ogre. You don't want to catch him. And if you're smoke breaks on that ogre, you know already. Like I've been in that situation so many times. Like all right, we screwed up. Like you're gonna kill that ogre. You're gonna go on him, but because if you don't, he's going to stun one of your heroes anyway, and then the team will follow up. You will go on that ogre. You will kill him, but you will lose a more important target doing so. And that's exactly what happened there. Ogre is just very tanky. One bracer, he has 2.3k HP and 13 armor. So killing him is fine, but at what expense? Losing that CK is definitely not good.
They've got the smoke. They look over. Prada hit with the fissure. Another smoke for position 5. They're looking for the epicenter. Bro Strike coming through on a Brile. It's not really going to be enough damage to get the kill. And yeah, like you said, there's no follow-up. Wish. Envy just comes from the side, and they get 3. They don't have buyback. They don't have buyback. They're not expecting this.
I love how you just laughed at I mean, yeah. Desolator, Drow Ranger takes down the target no matter if he has a BKB or not. Desolator plus Brile, and he's gone, and now they're pushing high ground. No buybacks, just like you said.
Oh god, Alk just stunned himself. That's a huge problem because you've got the totem. Reality Rift comes in, but they've got the LSA to follow it up as well as the Echo Storm. They'll get the kill to the Alchemist. And now they look at the CK. CK's the only one with buyback. He's there for 76, just throwing him.
This game is over. This game was...
What? Alchemist just gets caught out stunning himself, and that loses it.
How do you analyze this? Like, how do you make any coherent thoughts like about what just happened? That's my question. You know what? I, as an analyst, I have this problem sometimes. Like, I can see when the game is over, but obviously you can't say it, right? Like, you have to play it down. You have to, because there's fans on both sides. You want to satisfy everyone, I guess. You want to be talking like there's a chance for them. But what do you say about this Alchemist right now after he jumps in, stuns himself, and just sets him up?
Sets him up to lose the game.
Stuns, yeah, to lose the game, exactly.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, luckily I'm the play-by-play, so I don't have to deal with that, analyzing. I mean, I analyze a little bit. It's usually sketchy when I try to analyze anything, but that, I mean, I don't even know at that point. He just, the game ends off that. That is...
I mean, the game was over already. They didn't have 3 buybacks, but perhaps they could stall a little bit, throw assets. I mean, honestly, the game was already done. It didn't matter if he stuns himself, but it just puts the dot on the I guess, and makes it even more sillier. It just makes it look stupid pretty much in the end, and makes me think like, okay, I woke up at 3 a.m. to cast it. Good stuff. Thanks, Unknown. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They just didn't have luck in this particular game. I guess they could have been a bit more aggressive. They would hit their timings, but they won't really utilize them. You could see though that if they have a decent draft, they can match up against the teams such as Fighting Pandas. They had a shot. It's not like they were completely out of the game. Yeah, they had an Alchemist and they were playing from behind, but still, they hit their items, but they just didn't utilize them. I thought that fight around Roche might be good for them, but Moon Meander, he just played it well. He caught 2 targets with the Echo. 2 supports were eliminated from the offlane and a support were eliminated as the fight started, and they couldn't really use that Aegis. They couldn't utilize it really well, and in the end, Fighting Pandas, they take an easy 2-0 versus them.
And they take the 2-0, they win against the Alchemist, and that'll set them up to go up against eHome next. Not sure if that game's going to start until the Fnatic Spirit series is over. I know they've been waiting for corresponding series to end. So we'll be back with eHome against Fighting Pandas coming up next. That's VG Faded as well as 897. It should be very exciting, and Faith Beyond, of course, there as well. So excited for that matchup. Fighting Pandas, they get a quick and easy 2-0. So now coming into eHome, I mean, that's a little bit of a warm-up that might give you the confidence to overwhelm, a team that most would say is the better team. But,
yesterday they lost to them already, so eHome does look better, definitely. And we'll see if maybe with this boost in confidence they can do something more. Yep.
Yeah, it was a 2-1, so it was a close series of, wasn't just a blowout of a 2-0 like TNC did to Unknown, or TNC did to eHome themselves. So we'll see how that game pans out and how that series pans out when we come back with that. have more of an update when we get told, and we'll be back as soon as we know. So thank you so much for joining us. First best of 3 down, another one to come. I'm your caster B-Cop, joined here by Lizard. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us, on any other social media. Yeah, everywhere. Here, there, everywhere.
Don't follow me in real life, though.
Yeah,
That
except
people.
real life. Yeah, I'm in a hidden area. It's all right. You guys can't find me. I don't want to challenge that, though. So that's it for us. We'll be back in a moment. Stay right there.